Alright, so yesterday I hosted a live stream with fellow YouTuber Irgen, who is also co-host of the Anonymous Throwdown podcast. By the way, new episode of that coming today. And our Q&A was regarding Rocksteady's Suicide Squad game, and somebody asked us if we felt that this game should be connected to the Batman Arkham games. First off, though, let's try to get this video to 2,000 likes. I would really appreciate that. And if you do comment in the comment section below, either lead your comment with yes or no. Yes meaning that you do want the game to be connected to Batman Arkham, or no, in all caps, say yes or no definitively, so I can just kind of gauge the comments and we can kind of go through and see very quickly and easily what do people think about this issue. I am personally of the opinion that yes, it definitely should be connected to Batman Arkham, and let me explain why. The one thing we know for sure is that the Justice League is involved in this game, especially Superman, obviously, since he's on the poster art of the game. One thing that I've always wanted to know is what does the Justice League actually look like in the Batman Arkham universe? There have obviously been teasers and Easter eggs and small things like that, but we've never really seen what Batman Arkham Batman, was like in the Justice League. It would be very interesting to see how he fits into the Justice League and how he interacts with them. While Kevin Conroy has repeatedly confirmed that he is not working on the new Batman game, he has not said anything about a Suicide Squad game, obviously, so it would not surprise me if Batman has a small role in the game. What I also discussed with Jake is that we both feel that you can really have this game take place at any point among the Batman Arkham continuity. It could take place before Asylum, after City, before Night, after Night. In the case of After Night, of course, Batman has disappeared. He's gone MIA, so Batman would not be in the game at that point. However, he could appear at the very end of the game, where Amanda Waller tasks you with finding Batman, figuring out his location and tracking him down that way. Of course, Batman has gone missing into the world, and even to the Bat family, Nightwing and Batgirl and all these other characters, he is, dead or missing or whatever. At the end of Night, the Bat family is led to believe that Batman has died along with Alfred. However, we as the viewer kind of know that doesn't seem very likely, and then we see the teaser where he's this Nightfall Batman using fear toxins and all of that. I know that everyone has mixed opinions on that. But I think even more than including Batman Arkham Batman and also seeing what Superman and Green Arrow and the Flash and all these other characters actually look like in the Batman Arkham games, because as I said, we've seen allusions to them but not really seen them. I would really like to see more with Harley and Joker from Batman Arkham. Mark Hamill did such a fantastic job with the Joker in particular, and I'd love to see him in the game as well. Now, I don't want him to be a main character or be a part of the Suicide Squad. He's obviously too legendary and too iconic and just above being in the Suicide Squad altogether. However, it could be like it was in the Suicide Squad movie, where he's tangentially on the side of the film, and in this case, he could be sort of a secondary character in the game. For those of you unaware, in the Suicide Squad movie, before Jeff Johns cut it out and then asked a trailer editing company to edit the movie, which is why the movie is edited in the way that it is, like a trailer or a music video or something. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Before those cuts were made, Jared Leto Joker was actually in the final boss fight of the movie between the Suicide Squad and Enchantress. He played a leading role in that fight, and moreover, was involved in the movie after the helicopter crash scene, which was just a fake out death scene. And let's say that the Joker's dead, so that this game takes place after the events of Batman Arkham City or after the events of Batman Arkham Knight. In that case, you could still do flashback scenes with Mark Hamill's Joker and Harley Quinn from the Batman Arkham games. I'd be very interested to get a bigger and more in-depth look at what their relationship looked like in these games. We see that their relationship is toxic, and we see glimpses of it, but we don't really know how they met or how their relationship developed. I mean, imagine a flashback scene into the asylum before the events of Batman Arkham Asylum, where Harley Quinn was actually working there as Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Not only that, you flash back to Batman Arkham Asylum from the Batman Arkham games. It looks exactly the same. You're literally walking through the same halls that you did back in 2009, playing as Batman in Batman Arkham Asylum. So I'm just a huge advocate of building this greater Batman Arkham DC Comics video game universe wherein all of these games are interconnected. We know that WB Games Montreal is developing a Batman game, and I think it's a great idea for them to build their own continuity, which they are doing. It is a soft reboot of Batman Arkham, and I think that they're not going to allude to the continuity all too much, but it's going to be very clear that this is a separate take from Rocksteady's Batman Arkham games, and it is not tied into Batman Arkham Origins, Asylum City, or Night. I think this is the right decision for them. I think that they felt tethered by doing Arkham Origins, wherein, you couldn't kill any characters if they appeared in Asylum or City, which Rocksteady had developed, and doing a prequel and being a part of someone else's canon, you're kind of stepping in on their toes a little bit, and I think they felt that a little bit. The reason Batman Arkham City was so good is because they could go balls to the wall and be like, we're going to kill the Joker. Who cares, right? And if, obviously, W Montreal making Arkham Origins, they couldn't do anything bold like that. They couldn't kill Bane. They couldn't kill the Joker. They couldn't kill anyone in the game because they still appear in Arkham Asylum, and it would destroy the canon. now they have free reign to build their own canon. They can do whatever they want. They can kill off whoever they want. They can make whoever they want be, Nightwing or Batman or whoever. They can do a lot of things and just have full reign over their own world and build their own universe. So that's totally separate. I'm not talking about that game at all. This is totally looking at Rocksteady's DC video game universe, wherein the Suicide Squad game is connected to the Batman Arkham games. So as I mentioned, I'd love to see what Rocksteady's take on Suicide Squad is. Not only that, the Superman that Batman in Batman Arkham knew, and build upon that relationship, show flashback scenes there, show flashback scenes between Harley Quinn and the Joker. I think that would be amazing. We also have a lot of characters that were sort of tangentially on the side of the game. Killer Croc, Deadshot, Deathstroke, these other characters that we've come to know, and we respect them in the Batman Arkham games. We interact with them a couple times throughout the games. However, we don't know a lot about them or where they come from. They kind of just show up in the games and they're bad guys, but we don't have a lot on their backstory. I'd be also interested to play through their origins, not in the Batman Arkham origin sense, but their literal origins. And I would love to be able to explore those characters in more depth. And not only that, have them look and feel and be voiced by the exact same characters such that they are the continuation of what we saw in the Batman Arkham games. Not only that, we got to see a lot of Harley Quinn in the Batman Arkham games, and she's a pretty well fleshed out character in those games. So she's a great jumping off point where we can kind of connect to her right away, as opposed to restarting from scratch and have these new characters that you're introducing. And though Harley Quinn is Harley Quinn and we have some level of familiarity with that character, I think it just does a lot to actually say, hey, this is Harley Quinn from Batman Arkham City. This is Harley Quinn from Batman Arkham Knight. You know her from Harley Quinn's Revenge. You've seen her hours and hours, and you've played with her for years at this point, since 2009. This is the Harley that you have come to know. Many people's main interpretation that they sort of latch onto of Harley Quinn is Batman Arkham, which is also heavily based upon Batman the Animated Series. Since a new Suicide Squad movie comes out this next year, rather, in 2021, I am hopeful that they do not tie to that too much. I don't want this to be a movie game by any means. I don't want this to be Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I want this to be the Batman the Animated Series, Batman Arkham, 90s comics, Harley Quinn. Not only that, just think about getting more of Mark Hamill's Joker. He did such a fantastic job in the Batman Arkham games. It solidified him as the best Joker ever, in my personal opinion, if Batman the Animated Series did not do that already. And now we have the opportunity to get even more scenes with him, flashback scenes or whatever. As I said, if it takes place before City, we could actually have him be in the game as a main player, or he could take place after the events of City and Night, and we could explore more on Harley's side of things, where she reminisces her relationship with him, the abusive aspects of their relationship, and how she managed to fare after the death of the Joker. I think there also is a lot to explore with Harley Quinn's hatred of Batman. We as the player know that Batman did not kill Harley Quinn at the end of Batman Arkham City. However, she does not know that, and she thinks that Batman actually killed the Joker. So that hatred for him, I think, would be interesting to explore in this game as well. However, in many ways, she could view his death as a blessing because she's sort of freed from him and his tyrannical grasp after his death. So that's one challenge that is presented by this. Harley Quinn in the Batman Arkham game, she's kind of a ditz, not particularly intelligent, not really as intelligent in the same way that Harley in Suicide Squad is, the movie, and probably not even in the comics. She's just a bit of an idiot, and I think that they would need to do a lot to change her, but we already saw this. They totally retconned Scarecrow for Batman Arkham Knight. His appearance is completely different from Batman Arkham Asylum to Arkham Knight, and I thought it worked fine. I mean, it wasn't really anything that I complained about. It is a bit immersion breaking, I suppose, if you're big into the canon and everything being consistent, but hey, it's comic books. I mean, nothing really stays the same in comics. So my point being, they could totally redo the way these characters look and the way they feel and the way they act, and sort of evolve Harley's character a bit, make her a bit more intelligent and sophisticated, and still connect her to the Batman Arkham games. The way that you do that, as I mentioned, is let's say the game takes place after the events of Batman Arkham Knight. It could grow a lot in pretty much every way, emotionally, physically, spiritually, as a result of his death, because she realizes while she was devastated after his death, ultimately she recognizes that he was abusive and tyrannical towards her, and now she's freed from that and realizes that life is actually better after that. But she still, of course, has times where she misses him, and it's a very complicated thing when people are dealing with abusive relationships, whether that be romantic or interpersonal with their parents, where you feel resentment towards them, your abuser, but also you may have strong emotional connection to them, which is why people stay in abusive relationships and in abusive households. I think her feelings for the Joker, Mark Hamill's Batman Arkham Joker, are very complicated, and they'd be worth exploring in the game, because I don't want this game to just be, we're killing the Justice League, whatever, we're killing the bad guy. It's Suicide Squad, of course. The game is going to be fun, it's going to be funny, it's going to be enjoyable and entertaining to play through, but I don't really want it to be, I don't know, a basic Suicide Squad game. I want it to have some depth to it, and I'm very confident that Rocksteady is going to instill that in the game because they're great at that. I mean, one interesting thing about this game is that they have enlisted another writer to be the lead writer on the game, because I think what they learned after Batman Arkham Knight is that they do need a little bit more practice and experience with writing games. Asylum and City were amazingly written by Paul Dini, and then Arkham Knight came out and it was just okay. I think a talented writer is necessary for this game because it cannot just be this action adventure game. It needs to have depth to it. It needs to have a compelling single player story, and that is ultimately what I'm seeing online, being totally frank, is concerned that this is going to be a games as a service model. And playing through Avengers, the story is pretty good. Kamala Khan gets very annoying in my personal opinion, but the games as a service open world missions are not the best. They're very like Destiny-like, and I hope that we do not get that with this game in particular, although I think it would work better for this game than it would with Avengers. I mean, yesterday I was playing as the Hulk and I was dying in like 2 shots because I wasn't leveled up enough, and that's just so ridiculous. So I think it would work better when you're playing as, you know, Harley Quinn, and it actually makes sense if you're getting your ass beat by guys that outlevel you, whereas in an Avengers game it makes no sense. Not only that, I just love the Batman Arkham universe. I mean, that canon is so interesting, it's so rich, but there are elements of it that are not very well explored. It's not to Rocksteady's detriment. They were just hyper-focused on exploring Batman and his lore. Even so, we don't really know a lot about his connections with the Bat family. I mean, Barbara Gordon and Tim Drake and Dick Grayson, they all kind of show up, but we don't get any flashback scenes to how they met, their origins, and that type of thing. There still is a lot for them to explore in this universe. I really want them to explore, okay, what does the Suicide Squad actually look like in the Batman Arkham universe? What does Batman Arkham's Amanda Waller look like? What does Batman Arkham's Justice League look like? We see teasers and allusions to, you know, Lex Luthor and Green Arrow and these other characters and buildings and skyscrapers and billboards and other small things like that, but we never really get to see them. I want to see Kevin Conroy's Batman Arkham Batman interact with Superman, interact with these other characters that we've never seen them interact with before. Just gives them a lot of opportunity to build upon what they have already established with the Batman Arkham games in bold new ways. And of course, we get more of Mark Hamill's Joker. I mean, can you ever really complain about that? So guys, let me know what you thought about this video in the comments section below. Do you want to see Batman Arkham's Batman and Harley Quinn and the Joker come back for the Suicide Squad game? Build upon what we saw with Killer Croc. I mean, even with Killer Croc, there's Easter eggs to him in Arkham City. There's an Easter egg in Arkham Knight. He's in the Arkham Knight DLC, and you have a boss fight with him in Arkham Asylum, and you get a little bit of lore with the prison guard Aaron Cash in Batman Arkham Asylum. But beyond those small allusions, we don't really know a lot about that character besides reading his little character bios in all 3 of the games. I'm very interested to see if they can actually show us a complicated and more in-depth character history and do a more character piece, because the great thing about including these characters all in the same universe is that playing Suicide Squad, playing that video game is going to add and enrich our experience playing through the Batman Arkham games. Because then it's like, oh, we learned more about what Harley Quinn and Killer Croc and these other characters were like in these games. So it actually builds upon the prior games that they've built. It enriches them further in sort of in a post-mortem type of way that they weren't even intending to do. When we learn more about these characters, we learn where they come from, and we just get more character development for all of them. It really builds upon the previous games that Rocksteady has worked upon, whereas otherwise they could just abandon them entirely, build a new universe. I personally hope they don't do that because there's so much to explore in this universe. So guys, let me know what you thought about this video in the comment section below. I'm very curious to know what you guys think, what characters you want to see in the game as playable characters. Do you want this to be a part of the Batman Arkham universe? Again, type yes or no in the comment section below so I can, you know, kind of clearly see what everyone thinks about this. Not only that, I have another members only video that is coming every single Sunday. So another Rocksteady Suicide Squad game commentary. You can see a couple other commentaries on the screen now that I've done recently that are only available to members. If you sign up for $5, you get access to all of those bonus videos. So if you enjoy the commentaries and just want more of them, those are available to you for only $5. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. My name is Slickmoff. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.